Hello YouTube! Today on the Naughty Librarian I am bringing you a little fantasy book haul. So lately I have gotten a few more books. Obviously that's kind of like a thing I do, we all know at this point. But I've gotten a few more books. A couple of them were pre-orders, a couple of them were for my Amazon list, and just generic ones I wanted. So yeah, I got a bunch of fantasy ones. I've saved them all up into a pile. Let's get into this book pile. I'm excited. First things first, I got the next two books of the Edge series by Ilona Andrews. I've read the first two books in this series. This is the final two books of that series. I figured I'd just pick them both up at the same time. Now, the Edge series isn't really Ilona Andrews' best work. It is one of their earliest works, but it's not their best. It's a little clumsy, but overall still really, really fun. I do like the world building that was created here. Essentially, there's three worlds. There is the Weird, is what they call it, which is magical fantasy land. It's full of fae and magic and all, the whole 9 yards. And then you have the Broken, which is like normal world, you know, Walmart, CVS, McDonald's, normal world. And then you have this weird little place in the middle called the Edge. The Edge is kind of a mashup of both. It's part of the Broken, but not, and it's part of the Weird, but not. It's kind of that weird little edge in between the two. And we're just kind of following people who live in the Edge, and then there's peril and magical battles and all kinds of stuff. And each book is like actually fairly episodic, so I think they can be read as standalones. I think it might be more fun if you read them in order because some of these characters have popped up in previous books. But it's the one series I've read from Ilona Andrews so far that's episodic, so you could just hop in anywhere, I think. I'm particularly excited about Fate's Edge because this one has Calder in it, and Calder we were introduced to in the previous book, and he's like low-key a bit of a con man. For some reason, he reminds me of Gambit from X-Men, but he doesn't have like any psionic energy. He can't like, you know, charge playing cards and throw them at people. But like, I think he'd be really good at cards. He's very lucky. So yeah, he's like Lucky Gambit, and I'm like into that as a male romantic lead. And then you have Fate's Edge, which is the finale of the series. I honestly know nothing about it. I just know I'm gonna read it. I don't think I've met any of these characters yet, so I'm thinking they might be introduced in this book. And yeah, so I'm gonna read them eventually. I'm excited. I also picked up A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Milla Vane. This is kind of a Viking fantasy romance, I think. Well, Vikings might not be the right word. It's kind of more barbarian type of romance thing going on, and this was recommended to me by Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany. I think we're going to be buddy reading this in the future sometime, but it's going to be fun. And we're following these two people. We have Maddock and Evine, and oh boy, these guys start off this book as enemies. So Maddock, he is like the heir to like the barbarian throne, and his mom and dad get killed. He's real unhappy about that. He's like, I want revenge. And so he goes after the people who killed them, and it is the other royal family. So not the barbarian royal family, the other people, their king and queen. And he finds out it was the daughter of them who led the king, his parents, to their death. So he's just like, oh, I'm gonna get this bitch. In comes Vane, and he kidnaps her, I'm assuming, and she's just like, hey, listen, like, I'm not happy about this either. Like, my dad's a dick. I don't want war. How about we just get married instead? And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a weird start to a relationship. On the one hand, you have someone going, I'm going to murder you, and the other person is going, hey, I hear you, but let's get married instead. It's an odd combination of things, but I'm excited. This is definitely very fantasy driven, enemies to lovers. It could be really, really fun. I mean, it looks like completely barbarian romance, and I haven't really read enough of them, frankly, so I'm excited. I also got a copy of The Witch's Kind by Louisa Morgan. This was from my Amazon wish list, and I wish I kind of remembered why I put it on my list more, because the blurb here is very unhelpful. But it's witches, obviously, it's in the title. And it's kind of like right in the aftermath of World War II. And we're following these two sisters. I'm assuming they are witches, and they find this baby, and they're like, we gotta protect this baby because there's like bad guys and they're gonna try to take the baby. Honestly, I just liked World War II witches as like a concept, and I think that's why I put it on my list. And then it just came to me immediately after it went on my list. So like I didn't have enough time to like think about it. But I definitely want more witchy books in my life, and World War II witches sounds really cool. So I'm into this, so I'm excited. I also picked up a copy of The Name of All Things by Jenn Lyons. I recently read the first book of this series, The Root of Kings, and I really liked it a lot. I was way into the world. I love Kieran, the main character, so I was like, okay, let's get book 2. And honestly, these are chunky books. Like, that's what I said about the first book, and the second book equally as chunky. Like, oh man, this is a big one. And I think they're gonna have like oh wait, so this one doesn't have an encyclopedia in the back. The first book had a full-on encyclopedia. Oh wait, no, there's a glossary. Yeah, there's another full-on glossary in the back of this that's like 10-15 pages long. So yeah, it's very complex. Basic idea here, we're following this guy named Kieran. He is kind of, you know, the chosen one, which is such a lame thing to say. I hate that trope, but he's chosen. And it's kind of his like ongoing adventure. The end of book 1 had some like game-changing events happen, and they're like, oh man, we gotta figure some stuff out. And Kieran's on the run, trying to like not get murdered for stuff, so you know, he has some problems. And there's like a lot of things that were in upheaval with a lot of the main characters in this. You know, it's kind of a historical heroic fantasy, so you have a guy trying to save the world, la-di-di-da. But there's also gods and this really interesting magic system and mages, and the world building and the magic system blend well together, and I think they're really well done and thought out. Like hell, there is an encyclopedia in the back of this book. There's a glossary. There's a lot going on here in world building. But that being said, if you're like a world building geek and you love magic systems, I think you're really going to get into this one. It is a little difficult because sometimes the storytelling is going in 2 different directions at the same time. Just go with it. But I really liked book 1, so I do want to see where the story's going, so I went ahead and got book 2. One of my pre-orders that came in is Reaper of Souls by Rena Barron. This is the sequel to Kingdom of Souls, which I read, I think 2019, I believe I read that one, and it was really good. I'm you know, fainter on the details because it was a bit of time ago, but it's like witch doctors and myths and magic that, you know, is very costly to use. We're following this young woman named Ara. She is kind of like the last of her witch doctor clan, and basically magic comes to you in this world, and if it doesn't come to you, then you don't have magic. And it just never comes to her. So she has some problems because she still has to save the world, but she's got no magic. So there are things you can do in this world to obtain magic, but it costs you dearly. Like, if you really need to cast this spell, you can pay for it, like, maybe with a couple teeth, or a year of your life or something. Like, people have to, like, sacrifice something big to get magic. If magic comes to you naturally, then great, you don't have to sacrifice these things. But Ara's in the latter category where she's, like, have to sacrifice things to get magic. Also, there's this demon king running amok, and she's like, we gotta stop this demon king. So she has some problems. But I really love the mythology of this. It has witch doctors and demons, and the magic system is really fascinating because things have a cost to it, and it's really thought out well. And honestly, I really like the series. I liked book 1 enough I pre-ordered book 2. And I believe the first book of this series was a debut. So that was a debut author. I pre-ordered book 2. So like when that happens, it makes me want to read even more by that author because I think they're one to watch. So I really appreciate this series. Please check it out. I think you won't be disappointed. It's really good. Last but not least in this book haul, another pre-order of mine is A Court of Silver Flames, and this is of course by Sarah J. Maas. So the Court series, the Court of Whatever series, is not my favorite Sarah J. Maas work, but Am I still going to read it? Yes, I am. I'm going to read it. I know I will. It's not my favorite series, but I'm going to read it. It was never a question of if, it was a question of when. And I got this in the mail and I was like, oh my word. I didn't know how thick this book was. Like, Sarah J. Maas is notorious for writing very chunky books, like thick. 2 C's, very thick books. And this one, I don't know why I didn't think was gonna be that thick, but like, oh my word. Yeah, so this is like 757 pages, which it's a little shorter than I thought it was gonna be, because considering how like thick this book is, I was thinking over 800 easily. So slightly shorter, but still 757 pages is like a lot of pages. And it's the court series, so, you know, it's gonna be full of wingspans and magic and sexy times. Like, that's kind of what the series is known for. And it's not like something I'm dissing. I enjoy it, so I'm going to read it. This is kind of a spin-off continuation type of story. The first, you know, trilogy was about, oh my word, what, Feyre is her name. Just forgot the characters. It was mainly Feyre, she was the heroine. This is Nesta, who is Feyre's older sister. She's getting her own book. I'm assuming she's going to end up with Cassian. Like, no one is surprised by that. So, it's their big story. And I have heard, like, surprisingly very good things about it. I mean, obviously, Sarah J. Maas, very popular author. But, like, surprisingly good reviews. So, I am excited. Yeah. Pre-order this chunk. Oh, my word. Like, it's like... like, did you hear? Like, it is heavy. Oh my word. Alright, so that's just a little fantasy book haul to end February on. I've been reading really cool things. I'm excited for you guys to see my wrap-up, which is coming soon. But in the meantime, this Saturday, February 27th, right here, this channel, we are doing a live show. I hope you guys can come. It is at 11 a.m. Pacific time because we are going to be discussing From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club. We read stuff with stabbiness and we read stuff with bodice ripping. Think this is a good combination of both. And joining me, of course, is Leanna from Leanna's Library, and I like to announce right now we have some new additions to the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club. They were already kind of unofficial members, but we just went ahead and made it official. We put a ring on it, guys. So also joining us is going to be Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany and Mara from Books Like Whoa. We have been friends for many years now, and we're just like, we made it official. We're all in a book club, we're doing this, and it's gonna be really fun. Spoiler for you watching now, I'm about halfway through this. I am enjoying it. That is your big spoiler. You have to come on Saturday and see the discussion. I'm pretty sure Leanna hates it, so there will be some debate. But yeah, it's gonna be really fun right here this Saturday, the 27th at 11 a.m. Come chat with us. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.